The lights in the Europa research station dimmed briefly as another ice tremor shook the moon's surface. Dr. Taewon Kim grabbed his coffee mug before it slid off the desk. "Third tremor today," he muttered, looking at the readouts. Europa, Jupiter's icy moon, wasn't the most stable place to build humanity's first deep space research outpost, but its subsurface ocean made it perfect for their work. Taewon pushed his glasses up and checked the time. 21:57, Earth Standard. Almost time for the daily report. After 3 years on Europa, the routine was comforting. A knock at his door pulled him from his thoughts. "Come in," he called. Hyunwoo Choi, the station's young communications specialist, burst into the room. His normally calm face was flushed with excitement. "Dr. Kim, you need to see this." Hyunwoo's hands shook as he handed over a tablet. "I was running the deep space scan when I picked this up." Taewon looked at the screen. A pattern of signals, clearly not natural. His heart raced. "How long has this been coming in?" he asked, trying to keep his voice steady. 20 minutes. It's repeating on a loop." Hyunwoo pointed to a pattern on the screen. "Look at the structure. This isn't random noise." Taewon nodded slowly. "Have you told anyone else?" "Just you. Protocol says to inform the lead scientist first." "Good. Get Captain Park and Dae-hyun here now, and keep this quiet." Hyunwoo left quickly. Taewon stared at the pattern on the screen. After decades of searching the stars, humanity had finally found proof they weren't alone, and somehow the proof had found them first. Captain Ji-young Park arrived within 5 minutes, followed by Dae-hyun Lee, the station's defense systems engineer. At 42, Ji-young was the oldest person on the station and the only one with actual combat experience from the water wars of the 2130s. "What's so urgent, Doctor?" she asked, her sharp eyes taking in the tension in the room. Taewon handed her the tablet. "We're receiving a signal. Non-human origin." Ji-young's face remained calm, but her posture stiffened. "You're certain?" "The pattern is too perfect. It repeats exactly every 47 seconds. Dae-hyun peered over her shoulder. "Have we responded?" "No," Taewon said. "I wanted to discuss that first." Ji-young handed the tablet back. "We should contact Earth." "That will take hours," Taewon said. "The signal is coming from much closer." Hyunwoo pointed to his calculations. "Based on signal strength, whatever's sending this is in our solar system, maybe even in Jupiter's orbit." "All the more reason to be careful," Ji-young said. "Our orders are clear. Any potential first contact scenario requires Earth's approval before action." Taewon was about to respond when the station's emergency lights flashed red. The alarm blared. "What now?" Ji-young moved to the nearest terminal. Dae-hyun was already typing. "Something just appeared near Europa. Big energy signature. Definitely not one of ours." The main screen switched to the external cameras. What they saw made them all freeze. A ship hung in space above Europa. It was sleek and dark, with strange glowing lines running along its hull. It was like nothing humans had ever built. "I think we found the source of our signal," Taewon whispered. The next hour was chaos. The alien ship moved into a stable orbit around Europa. More signals came in, different from the first. Hyunwoo worked frantically to understand them. "I think they're trying different communication methods," he said, "testing to see what we respond to." The station's 42 crew members were all at their stations now, half excited, half terrified. This was history happening right in front of them. Captain Park had called an emergency meeting with the department heads in the main control room. "We need to follow protocol," she insisted. "Earth needs to know about this first." "Earth is almost an hour away by communication," Taewon argued. "We should at least acknowledge their presence." "And say what?" Ji-young asked. "We don't even know what they want." "They came to us," Dae-hyun pointed out. "They must want something." Before anyone could respond, Hyunwoo burst into the room. "They're sending a new signal. It contains images." Everyone rushed to the main screen where a series of simple pictures appeared. Geometric shapes at first, then what looked like star maps. "They're trying to establish basic communication," Taewon said, his excitement growing. "We should respond in kind." Ji-young hesitated, then nodded. "Basic acknowledgement only. Send similar geometric patterns back." Hyunwoo began working on a response. The mood in the control room was electric. Humanity's first conversation with an alien species was happening, and they were part of it. The joy lasted exactly 7 minutes. Energy. "Spike from the alien ship!" Daehyun shouted, his eyes fixed on his monitors. Before anyone could react, the station shook violently. Warning alarms blared as systems throughout the station began to fail. "We've been hit!" someone yelled. "Seal all compartments! Get to emergency stations!" Ji-young ordered, her training taking over. Taewon stumbled as another blast rocked the station. "Why are they attacking us? We didn't threaten them." Ji-young didn't answer, already moving toward the weapons control. Europa Station had minimal defenses, mostly anti-meteor systems. Nothing designed for this. Hyunwoo sent an emergency signal. "To Earth! Tell them we're under attack," she ordered. The young communications specialist worked frantically. "I'm trying, but our main antenna was hit." Another blast. The lights went out, then flickered back on as backup systems engaged. "Hull breach in Section 4, Daehyun reported. "Automatic seals engaged, but we're losing air." Taewon grabbed the AO nearest console to steady himself. This couldn't be happening. First contact was supposed to be a moment of wonder, not terror. "They're landing!" someone shouted. The external cameras showed smaller craft detaching from the alien ship, heading toward the station. Ji-young grabbed Taewon's arm. "Doctor, get to the secure lab. Take your research data and destroy everything else. If they're here for our technology, we can't let them have it." "But that's an order," she snapped. "Daehyun, help me get the emergency beacon ready." As Taewon rushed to his lab, he could hear the sounds of the station dying around him. Emergency bulkheads closing, air hissing from breached sections, people shouting and running. In his lab, he quickly downloaded all his research onto a small quantum drive and slipped it into his boot. As he finished, the door burst open. Hyunwoo stood there, bleeding from a cut on his forehead. "They're inside the station," he gasped. "Strange beings in suits. They're taking people." A distant explosion rocked the station again. "We need to hide," Taewon said, pulling Hyunwoo toward the storage closet. They had barely closed the door when they heard them, heavy footsteps and strange clicking sounds that might have been speech. The lab door hissed open. Through the slats in the closet door, Taewon got his first look at the aliens. They were tall and thin, with 4 limbs and bodies covered in what looked like armor. Where their faces should be, there were only smooth, helmets with glowing spots that might have been eyes. One of them moved to Taewon's computer and placed a device on it. Data began streaming across the screen. "They're stealing our research," Hyunwoo whispered. Taewon felt the small drive in his boot press against his ankle. At least they wouldn't get everything. Suddenly, the closet door was ripped open. The aliens clicked excitedly at the sight of the 2 humans. One reached out with a 3-fingered hand and grabbed Taewon by the arm. As they were dragged from the lab, Taewon saw the devastation throughout the station. Bodies lay on the floor. Some moved, others didn't. Captain Park was being held by 2 aliens, blood streaming down her face but still fighting. The last thing Taewon saw before something hit the back of his head was the Europa Station, humanity's proud outpost, broken and burning. Then darkness took him. Unknown to the humans or their attackers, a small probe watched everything from a safe distance. Inside it, alien observers recorded the unprovoked attack with growing concern. The Ardaxians had broken the most sacred law of the Galactic Confederation: never interfere with developing worlds. But as they watched the humans being loaded onto the Ardaxian ship, none of the observers suspected that this small, primitive species would soon make everyone learn a new rule. The most important rule in the galaxy: never mess with humans. 6 months had passed since the attack on Europa Station. 6 months of grief, rage, and furious preparation on Earth. Admiral Sunho Kang stood at the window of his office in the underground base near Seoul. At 62, he had never expected to lead humanity's first space war. But here he was, watching workers build ships that would soon leave Earth to hunt an enemy from the stars. A knock at his door interrupted his thoughts. "Enter," he called. Dr. Yoon-ji Yoon walked in, carrying a tablet. Dark circles under her eyes showed she hadn't slept much. No one in the Earth Defense Force slept much these days. "The shield tests are complete," she said without greeting. "They work even better than we hoped." Sunho nodded. "Show me." Yoon-ji played a video on her tablet. It showed a small drone covered in a faint blue glow. A laser hit it, but instead of damaging the drone, the energy seemed to flow around it. "The shield absorbs the energy and redirects it," Yoon-ji explained. "The more power they use against us, the stronger our shields become." "And you're sure it will work against their weapons?" "We tested it with the energy signatures we recorded during the Europa attack. Our shields can handle anything they use there." Sunho allowed himself a small smile. "How soon can we install them on the ships?" "Installation starts tomorrow. All 5 ships will be ready within 2 weeks. Good. We leave in 3. In another part of the base, Do-hyun Baek watched his team train. 20 men and women, the best soldiers Earth had, practicing moves in special suits designed for space combat. "Again," he ordered, as 2 soldiers missed their timing. "In space, you get 1 chance. Miss, and you die." As they repeated the exercise, his mind drifted to the mission ahead. They would board an alien ship, fight creatures they'd never seen before, and rescue the Europa survivors, if any were still alive. A technician approached with a communication device. "Sir, Admiral. Kang wants to see all team leaders." Do-hyun nodded and headed for the command center. When he arrived, he found the other team leaders already waiting: Ha-jun Kwon, who would lead the fighter squadron, and Captain Ji-young Park. Seeing Ji-young still surprised him. She had been the only one to escape Europa using an emergency pod after setting the station's reactor to overload. The explosion had damaged the alien ship enough for her pod to get away. Her survival had given Earth valuable information and living proof of the attack. "We've made contact," Admiral Kang announced as he entered. The room went silent. "The quantum communicator worked?" Ji-young asked, her voice tight. "Yes. Dr. Kim managed to activate his emergency device. He's alive, along with 7 other captives." Relief washed over Ji-young's face. "Where are they?" Admiral Kang pulled up a star map. "Here, the 4th planet in this system. Dr. Kim called it the Ardaxian homeworld." "How did he get the communicator past them?" Ha-jun asked. "He hid it in his boot. The aliens didn't expect such technology from us, so they didn't look for it." Do-hyun studied the map. "What else did he tell us?" "The Ardaxians are using our people for tests and labor. They consider us primitive but useful, and they're not alone in the galaxy." This last bit of news made everyone stop. "There are more." "Alien species?" Ji-young asked. "Dozens, maybe hundreds. Dr. Kim has been gathering information. He says there's something called the Galactic Confederation, a group of species that govern this part of the galaxy." "Do they know about the attack?" "On us?" Ha-jun asked. "Apparently, yes, but they have rules about interfering with developing worlds. They won't help us." "Then we help ourselves," Do-hyun said firmly. Admiral Kang nodded. "Exactly. And now we have our target." In a dark cell on a distant world, Dr. Tae-won Kim pressed the small button on his hidden communicator. The quantum link to Earth was active again. For a few precious minutes, he could send more information home. The cell door slid open. Hyun-woo was pushed inside by an Ardaxian guard. The young man's face was bruised, but his eyes were clear. "They're bringing in more specimens." Hyunwoo whispered once the guard left. From another planet. I heard them talking. Taewon nodded. In the months of captivity, they had learned much about their captors. The Ardaxians were traders and raiders, taking resources from worlds less advanced than theirs. They weren't the strongest species in the galaxy, but they were bold enough to break rules when it suited them. Did you place the data collector in their library? Taewon asked. Yes, it's copying everything. Taewon smiled. When the Ardaxians had realized his scientific knowledge, they'd given him limited access to their systems. A mistake they would regret. Earth responded to my last message, he said quietly. They're coming for us. Hyunwoo's eyes widened. How? The Ardaxians said Earth has no space travel technology. They underestimate humans. They always have. Back on Earth, final preparations were underway. The 5 ships, humanity's first war fleet, were ready. Each ship carried a mix of weapons reverse-engineered from debris left at Europa and new designs created by Dr. Yoon's team. Ha-Jun Kwon checked his fighter one last time. Once a commercial pilot, he now commanded 30 space fighters. The small, fast craft would be the first to engage the enemy. Nervous? Asked a voice behind him. He turned to see Ji Young. After returning to Earth, she had insisted on joining the rescue mission. No one had the heart to refuse her. Not nervous, he said. Eager. Ji Young nodded. 6 months ago, I watched my friends die. I've waited every day for this. We'll make it right, Ha-Jun promised. In the command ship, Admiral Kang reviewed the final plans with Do-hyun. The moment we exit FTL travel will be detected, the Admiral said. You'll have minutes to board their station and find our people. We'll be ready, Do-hyun assured him. My team has trained for every scenario we could think of. And a few we couldn't, the Admiral added grimly. Dr. Kim's information is valuable, but there will be surprises. Do-hyun checked his combat suit. One more time. Surprises work both ways. The Ardaxians are expecting primitives with basic weapons. They'll get something very different. Indeed, the Admiral said with a cold smile. Humanity has advanced more in the past 6 months than in the previous 10 years. Fear and anger are powerful motivators. Across the galaxy, in a hidden observation post, alien beings watched Earth with growing concern. For centuries, they had observed the blue planet, cataloging its development. They're building warships, one observer noted. Advanced ones. Impossible, another replied. Their technology level is decades away from such achievements. See for yourself, the first one said, showing images of Earth's new fleet. These humans are adapting faster than any species we've ever studied. The Ardaxians have violated the non-interference rule. We should report this. By the time the Confederation decides what to do, it will be too late. The humans are already on the move. Indeed, at that very moment, Earth's fleet was departing. The 5 ships, sleek, dark, and built for war, left orbit and headed for deep space. Once clear of the solar system, they engaged their FTL drives, disappearing in flashes of blue light. The human response was underway, and it would change the galaxy forever. The Ardaxian guard never saw the attack coming. One moment he was patrolling the corridor outside the human holding cells, the next he was on the floor, unconscious. Do-hyun Baek dragged the alien's body into a shadowed corner. His team moved silently through the station, their dark combat suits blending with the shadows. 6 months of training had prepared them for this moment. Cell block ahead, whispered Sang-min, his second in command. Life signs match human patterns. Do-hyun nodded. Team 1 with me. Team 2, secure our exit path. The rescue mission had begun 30 minutes earlier when Earth's fleet arrived in Ardaxian space. The Ardaxians, completely unprepared for humans to appear at their doorstep, had scrambled their defense ships. While Ha-Jun's fighters engaged the Ardaxian vessels, Do-hyun's team had boarded the space station where the human captives were held. At the cell block entrance, Do-hyun used a device Dr. Yoon had created to bypass the security system. The door slid open. "Check each cell," he ordered. "Move fast." They found the first human captive in the third cell, a woman from the Europa station. She stared at her rescuers in disbelief. "Earth sent you?" she whispered. "We're taking you home," Do-hyun assured her. "Can you walk?" She nodded, tears in her eyes. Cell by cell, they found the survivors. 8 in total, including Dr. Kim and Hyun-woo. "We need to hurry," Dr. Kim said when they found him. "But first, we must get to the data center." Do-hyun frowned. "Our mission is extraction only." "Trust me," Dr. Kim insisted. "What I've collected there is worth more than any weapon." After a moment's hesitation, Do-hyun agreed. "Show us the way, but we move fast." Above the planet, the space battle raged. Hajun Kwan watched in satisfaction as another Ardaxian ship failed to penetrate his fighters' shields. "Their weapons are having no effect," he reported to Admiral Kang on the command ship. "Dr. Yoon's shields are working perfectly." "Good," the Admiral replied. "The rescue team is inside. Keep the Ardaxians busy." Hajun smiled. "With pleasure." He signaled to his squadron. The Earth fighters moved in perfect formation, targeting the Ardaxian vessel's weak points that Dr. Kim had identified in his transmissions. The alien ships, despite their advanced technology, were falling one by one. An Ardaxian command ship attempted to escape, turning away from the battle. Hajun pursued, his fighter easily matching the larger ship's speed. "You're not going anywhere," he muttered, locking weapons on the ship's engines. In the Galactic Confederation observation post, the alien observers watched the battle in stunned silence. "Impossible," one whispered. "The humans defeated the Ardaxian defense fleet in minutes." "Their technology," another said. "It's beyond their development stage. How did they advance so quickly?" The senior observer, who had studied humans for decades, spoke quietly. "We have underestimated them. Their adaptability is unlike anything we've seen. Should we intervene now?" "Too late for that," the senior observer replied. "The balance has already shifted. We must inform the Confederation Council immediately." Back on the space station, Do-hyun's team reached the data center. Dr. Kim moved quickly to a terminal and inserted a small device. "Downloading now," he said. "This contains information on every species in the Confederation, their technologies, weaknesses, and political structures." Do-hyun was impressed. "How did you access all this?" "The Ardaxians thought I was studying their language to better serve them," Dr. Kim explained with a small smile. "They didn't realize I was accessing their entire database." An alarm blared, suddenly. "We've been detected," Sang-min warned. "Multiple hostiles approaching." "Download complete," Dr. Kim announced, removing the device. "We can go." They raced back through the corridors toward their extraction point. Ahead, they could hear the sounds of Ardaxian security forces. "This way," Do-hyun directed, leading them down a side passage. "Our ship is docked at the emergency airlock." As they ran, the station shook violently. "What was that?" Hyun-woo asked, struggling to keep up. "Our fleet," Do-hyun answered. "Admiral Kang said he would make sure the Ardaxians never forget this day." 1 year later, Ambassador Minho Seo stood before the Galactic Confederation Council. The massive chamber housed representatives from 37 advanced species, all watching the human with a mixture of curiosity and unease. "Earth thanks the Council for this opportunity to address you," Minho began. "We come seeking neither war nor domination, but respect and recognition." The Confederation's Supreme Counselor, a tall being with iridescent skin named Nexarian, spoke. "Your species has advanced at an unprecedented rate. Some council members find this concerning." "We adapted out of necessity," Minho replied calmly. "When the Ardaxians attacked our outpost and took our people, we had no choice but to defend ourselves." The Ardaxians have been punished for breaking our non-interference directive, Nexarian said. But your response has created instability in this sector. At this, Minho's expression hardened slightly. With respect, Counselor, your directive did not protect us. The observers who witnessed the attack did nothing to help. Murmurs spread through the chamber at this revelation. Minho continued, Earth does not seek conflict, but we will defend ourselves and our interests. Dr. Kim, who survived Ardaxian captivity, will present our proposal for peaceful relations. Dr. Kim stepped forward. In the year since his rescue, he had become Earth's foremost expert on alien civilizations. Using the data he had stolen, he had prepared humanity for this moment. Respected Council, he began, I have studied your histories and cultures. I understand your concerns about our rapid advancement. But consider this. Earth offers something unique to the Confederation, a fresh perspective and unmatched adaptability. He activated a holographic display showing technological and medical innovations Earth had developed in just 1 year. We offer these advancements freely to all peaceful species, Dr. Kim continued. In return, we ask only for equal status in the Confederation and the right to establish colonies in unclaimed systems. The council chamber filled with whispers as representatives discussed this unexpected offer. In a quiet corner of the Confederation space station, Jin Ho-yu met with representatives from 3 smaller alien species. As Earth's strategic advisor, he had been building alliances behind the scenes. My government is prepared to offer protection against Ardaxian raids, he told them, in exchange for mining rights in your outer systems. One of the aliens, a reptilian being called Mexthar, leaned forward. The Ardaxians have raided our worlds for generations. The Confederation did nothing. Earth will do something, Jinho promised. We have already established outposts near your borders. Any Ardaxian ship entering your space will be intercepted. And what does Earth want in return, truly? Another alien asked suspiciously. Jinho smiled. Friends, allies, partners in a galaxy that's changing rapidly. As Ambassador Minho continued his address to the Council, Supreme Counselor Nexarian watched with growing concern. Reports were coming in from across the galaxy. Earth ships had been spotted in multiple systems, and several smaller species had already signed treaties with the humans. They've outmaneuvered us, he whispered to his advisor. While we debated whether to recognize them, they've established themselves throughout the sector. Should we take action? The advisor asked. Nexarian remembered the reports from the Ardaxian conflict, how Earth ships had shrugged off energy weapons, how their soldiers had infiltrated the most secure Ardaxian facility with ease. No, he decided. We will welcome them into the Confederation. For now. On Earth, President Seung-min Jung watched the council proceedings via quantum transmission. Everything was going according to plan. The galaxy was changing, and humanity was leading that change. The most important lesson they'll learn, he said to his advisors, is never to underestimate us again. 5 years had passed since the first Ardaxian attack on Europa Station. 5 years that had changed the galaxy forever. President Seung-min Jung stood at the window of the New Earth Embassy on the Confederation capital world. From here, he could see alien ships from dozens of worlds coming and going. Among them were sleek Earth vessels, now a common sight across the galaxy. Beautiful view, said a voice behind him. Seung-min turned to see Dr. Taewon Kim enter the room. The scientist had changed much since his days as a captive. Now he was Earth's chief science officer and one of the most respected humans in the galaxy. How was your meeting with the Confederation Science Council? Seung-min asked. Productive, Taewon replied with a small smile. They're still amazed by our shield technology. Dr. Yoon enjoys keeping them guessing. Seung-min nodded. Dr. Yoonji Yoon had become something of a legend among alien scientists. Her innovations had pushed Earth to the forefront of galactic technology in just 5 years. "And the border situation?" the president asked. "Quiet for now. Admiral Park has established patrols along all our treaty partners' borders." Sung-min was about to respond when his communication device beeped urgently. Ambassador Min-ho's face appeared on the screen. "Mr. President, we have a situation. The Ardaxians have formed a coalition with 3 other species. They're moving ships toward the Nexus sector." Sung-min's expression hardened. "Alert Admiral Park. I'll be at the command center in 5 minutes." The Earth Defense Command Center was bustling with activity when Sung-min arrived. Large screens showed the positions of ships throughout the sector. Admiral Ji-young Park stood at the central table studying a 3D map. The former captain of Europa Station was now commander of Earth's massive defense fleet. "Mr. President," she greeted him, "the Ardaxians have been planning this for months. They've gathered allies among species who resent our rapid rise." "How?" "Many ships?" Sung-min asked. "Over 200. The largest fleet assembled in this sector in 50 years. Ambassador Min-ho joined them, his face grave. "The Confederation Council claims this is an internal matter. They won't intervene." "Of course not," Ji-young said bitterly. "They're hoping the Ardaxians will solve their human problem." Sung-min studied the map. "What are our options?" "We have 73 ships in range," Ji-young replied. "But we've developed some new technologies they haven't seen yet." "Can we win?" Ji-young's eyes gleamed with confidence. "Absolutely." In deep space, Ha-Jun Quan prepared his fighters for battle. Now a fleet commander, he led Earth's fastest and most lethal ships. "All squadrons report ready," his second-in-command announced. Ha-Jun nodded. "The Ardaxians think numbers will give them victory. Let's show them how wrong they are." His ship's communication system activated. Admiral Park's face appeared on the screen. "Commander Quan, the enemy fleet will reach your position in 30 minutes. Your orders are to engage and delay them while we activate the Aegis system." Ha-Jun's eyes widened. "The Aegis is ready?" "Yes. Dr. Yoon completed the final tests yesterday. This is the perfect opportunity to demonstrate it." Ha-Jun smiled. "Understood, Admiral. We'll keep them busy." On the Ardaxian command ship, Supreme Commander Zar watched the approaching battle with confidence. After 5 years of humiliation, the Ardaxians would finally have their revenge. "The human ships are holding position," his tactical officer reported. "Only 73 vessels." Zar made a sound of satisfaction. "They're outnumbered 3-1. Begin the attack." The massive Ardaxian fleet moved forward, weapons charged. Behind them, ships from their allied species followed in formation. "Enemy fighters approaching," the tactical officer announced with sudden concern. "They're moving very fast." Zar wasn't worried. "Destroy them!" The Ardaxian fleet fired, filling space with energy beams and missiles. But something strange happened. The human fighters seemed to absorb the energy attacks, growing brighter with each hit. "What's happening?" Zar demanded. "Why aren't they being destroyed?" "Unknown, Commander. Their shields are—" Before he could finish, the human fighters opened fire. Beams of concentrated energy, the same energy the Ardaxians had fired, struck back with doubled force. Ardaxian ships began to explode. In Earth's command center, Sung-min watched the battle unfold. "Ha-Jun's fighters are performing perfectly," Admiral Park reported. "The Ardaxians still don't understand our shield technology." Ambassador Min-ho looked concerned. "The Confederation will view this as escalation." "They should have thought of that before allowing the Ardaxian coalition to form," Sung-min replied. "Are we ready to activate Aegis?" Dr. Yoon, who had joined them, nodded. "All systems are online. The satellites are in position." "Proceed," Sung-min ordered. In space, strange satellites suddenly activated around Earth's allied worlds. A wave of energy spread outward, forming a massive shield that encompassed entire planets. On the Ardaxian command ship, Tsar watched in horror as his fleet's weapons bounced harmlessly off these new planetary shields. "Impossible," he whispered. "No species has planetary shield technology." A communication request came through. Against his better judgment, Tsar accepted it. Admiral Park's face appeared on his screen. "Supreme Commander Tsar, your attack has failed. Your fleet is being decimated. I suggest you surrender." Tsar snarled. "Ardaxians do not surrender." "Then you leave us no choice." The communication ended. Moments later, Tsar's ship shook violently as human fighters targeted its engines. 3 days later, Supreme Counselor Nexarian called an emergency session of the Galactic Confederation Council. The mood was tense as representatives from all member species gathered. "The balance of power has shifted dramatically," Nexarian announced. "The Ardaxian coalition has been defeated. Their military infrastructure has been disabled." Murmurs spread through the chamber. An alien representative stood. "And what of Earth? Will they be punished for this act of war?" Ambassador Minho rose calmly. "Earth did not start this conflict. We defended ourselves and our allies against unprovoked aggression, just as we did 5 years ago when the Ardaxians attacked our Europa station." "The ambassador is correct," Nexarian admitted reluctantly. "Our investigation confirms the Ardaxians fired first," Minho continued. "Earth now proposes a new structure for the Confederation, one that guarantees protection for smaller worlds against aggressors." He activated a holographic display showing a new alliance system with Earth at its center. "Worlds that wish to join our protective alliance are welcome. Those that prefer independence may remain so. But know this: attacks on Earth or its allies will be met with immediate and decisive response." The council erupted in debate. Some representatives protested loudly while others sat in stunned silence. A few, mostly from smaller worlds, nodded in agreement. Nexarian raised his hands for silence. "The Council will consider Earth's proposal. Until then, we recognize the new reality of our galaxy." President Sung Min met with his advisors after hearing the Council's response. "They're stalling," Jinho said. "But they know they can't stop us." 10 more worlds have requested alliance treaties today alone, Minho reported. "The Confederation is fracturing." Sung Min looked thoughtful. "We never wanted domination, only respect and security." "They understand that now," Admiral Park said firmly. "After witnessing what happened to the Ardaxians, no one will challenge us lightly." Dr. Kim, who had been quiet, finally spoke. "I've been studying ancient Earth history. The Romans had a concept called Pax Romana, Roman peace. Perhaps what we're creating is Pax Humana, peace through human strength." Sungmin nodded slowly. "A peace where the first rule is clear to all. Across the galaxy, on worlds both advanced and developing, stories spread of the humans who had risen from a single planet to become a galactic power in just 5 years, of how they had defeated the dreaded Ardaxians twice and now offered protection to any world that asked." In the diplomatic halls of the Confederation, representatives whispered advice to newcomers. "Remember the most important rule in the galaxy: never mess with humans." And on distant planets, children of many species looked up at the stars and wondered if one day they might visit Earth, the world that had changed everything. Back on Europa, where it all began, a new research station stood, larger and more advanced. Than the first, it served as a reminder of how far humanity had come, and as a warning to any who might threaten Earth again. The galaxy had learned its lesson. Humanity was here to stay,